Hello. Today I'm going to recreate a 1960s updo. Now, the 1960s really was the decade of the hairdresser. Really good hairdressers were in such high demand. Hair was big, it was teased, it was backcombed, it was elaborate. It also was the decade that we saw the return of the wig. Wigs weren't really worn that much up until that point, but in the 1960s, women really got back into wearing wigs, whether they were full wigs, three-quarter wigs, and also the pastiche or the hairpiece. Women would have a little hairpiece, they would sort of pop it in their bag, and then when they would go out in the evening, they would just pin on their little hairpiece to give them a very different style for the evening. Now, I'm not going to use a hairpiece today because Jess has lots of hair. So I'm going to be able to recreate this updo just using Jess's hair. The style, however, does lend itself very well to a hairpiece. So if you wanted to, or if you had an artist who had less hair, who had much shorter hair, much finer hair, then you could prepare your hairpiece beforehand, you could set it, you could dress it, and then you could just pop it on. So it would actually be quite a good style to do if you didn't have that much time. But as I say, today I don't need a hairpiece because I'm just going to use Jess's own hair. Now, I've got a couple of reference pictures here just to give you an idea of what I'm going to be doing. They do differ slightly because the one on the left hand side here has a fringe, but I just wanted you to see the shape, the profile, which is very lovely, very elegant and glamorous. But the darker one here, the one on the right hand side, this is what I'm going to be doing today because Jess doesn't have a fringe, so it's going to look more like this. I've got 3 sets of heated rollers ready to go because I'm not going to use all of the sizes. In the Babylous set here, I'm going to just use the white. And in this one, I'm mainly going to use the blue, and then I might use some of the bigger ones. When in doubt, with roller setting, always use a smaller roller. If you're not quite sure, if you want quite a lot of movement, I always tend to go for a smaller roller. You can always brush the curl out, but you can't put curl in if you haven't already set it in there, okay? So I'm going to go for the smaller roller because I know it's going to give me quite a lot of curl, and that's what I need for this style. So I've set Jess's hair on the hot rollers. The directions just what I call an onion set, which is quite an old-fashioned term really, but it's like a traditional set where all the rollers are going into the middle and meeting in the middle, because looking at the style there, all of the hair comes up into the middle and then you've got this cluster of curls. So this is what I've done. Now I'm going to take these out. They've been in for about half an hour, just so that it gives them enough time to cool down. And I'm just going to take them out from the nape first. Okay, so lots of lovely movement and lovely lovely curl. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just to brush the hair through. And as I said, I've got lots of nice movement in this, so I'm just going to lightly brush it through. Just right through from the root, right through till the end. Now the products I'm going to use today I'll be using a little bit of styling cream and also a little bit of anti-frizz spray, and then right at the end I'll use some hairspray. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put the hair into 2 ponytails, and this is just going to give me some structure. It's going to give me 2 bases there from which I can then walk round and I can create some nice curl. Okay, so I'm going to take a section from here, fairly clean section. So a lot of the hair is going into this. Okay, just brush that through, get that nice and smooth, and I'm just going to use a normal band on it just to hold it in place. Right, now I'm just going to take a little bit of product here and just around the hairline. I'm just going to smooth that down just as I brush. Right, so just try and keep that hair out of the way so that you get a nice clean ponytail there, nice and high. Okay, don't worry too much. These little flyaway hairs around the hairline, you can go back to these at a later date and you can smooth them down. So once you've got this hair and all of this other section, try and just keep that out of the way. And then take that, and then just take one of your hair bands, just pull that into a nice high ponytail. Make sure it's in the middle. Okay. Right, and then pull that nice and tight. Okay. Right, now make sure that it's nice and smooth around the hairline. Okay. And the ponytail, looking at it in profile, it's just on the crown there. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of product in the ponytail. Just keep Okay, right. Right, now I'm just going to twist this, twist it out of the way for now, just because I'm going to do the other ponytail here. So I think I'll just put a little, I'll just put a pin in that. Keep it right out of the way. There we are. Then I'm going to do the same with this second ponytail. Not quite so much here in this one. Okay. Nice and smooth. Using some product again. Keep that nice and smooth around there. The nape. Let's pull that product through the hair. And just comb it up. Keeping that nape really clean. Okay, and just take that up to there and get your next ponytail, your next hairband, and do the second ponytail. Keep that nice and tight, like that. Great, okay. Keep that nice and smooth. So now I've got my two ponytails. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to put some padding in. Now, I'm not using the padding because Jess doesn't have enough hair. She's got so much hair, and I don't really need. I need it because she's lacking in hair. I mean, sometimes you use padding, obviously, if someone doesn't have enough thick enough hair. But what I want to do is just to create a foundation to pin into, because this hairstyle has got to be really, really solid. And so I'm going to just pin some crepe hair around this, around the ponytails, to just give me some solidity so that I can then dress my curls over the top. Now, the padding here that I'm going to use, I like to use crepe hair, so I've got some just some crepe hair there, which with hair nets over the top. I've also just got some of this. Now, this is a piece of a donut, a plastic donut that you can buy in high street shops or online, or you'll have seen them. They're sort of like a round plastic. They look exactly like a donut. They're a bit of a strange shape, so I don't tend to use them in the shape that they come when you buy them. What I do with mine is I just cut them up. And if you cut them up and you unravel them, then you'll get this plastic. It's sort of, well, it's not plastic, it's nylon. It feels like nylon. It's quite stretchy. And then what you can do, you can manipulate that, and it gives you just another form of padding. Now, what I'm going to use today is I'm going to use the crepe hair, but I'm going to wrap some of this other padding round about the top, just to make it really, really solid. What I'm also going to do, just around here, is I'm going to smooth that back even more, and I'm going to put some grips around here as well. The grips will help to smooth the hair back and keep it in place. And they'll also give you something to pin your padding and to pin your curls into. So I'm going to use the matte grips, and I'm just going to pin right, so you're not going to see them obviously. You're going to pin right round here. You're going to grip just round the ponytail. Smooth it back like that, make sure this is nice and flat, and then I'll put a grip in there. Okay. Keep that out of the way. Okay, and then just here. Just to help you to keep that nice and flat. And here, maybe just get that really flat there. And then a little grip. Just in there. Put that down. Just one up there. There we go. So just all the way round. And that'll just give you an anchor point to pin your padding into, and also to pin your, to just generally pin into. A style like this needs to be really solid. It's a bit of a construction. It's like any of these big styles, like a late Victorian or a Georgian. The foundation needs to be really solid, otherwise your whole hairstyle will just topple and collapse. Okay, right. Now I'm just going to put my padding in. So my crepe here with the other part of the donut just round about, and this is really solid. The nylon of the donut just, it makes it much stronger. The crepe here is great. I love crepe here. It's really useful for period hairdressing, but it can be a little bit too soft sometimes. So just pin that in really securely. I'm just using these big pins, and because I've got the grips underneath, so I'm just gripping through. I'm just gripping into. I'm pinning into the grips. So it is going to be quite. Are you okay, Dawn?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So then I'm going to take that just out of the way so that I can see what I'm doing. Okay. And then just carry on down with that padding. Well, the way that around. I mean, the padding, as long as you've got the right shape, it doesn't have to be pretty. No one's seeing it. It's all about the shape underneath. Okay, so you can see my padding's quite dark, but I'm not going to see that. It's all going to be covered. So I'm just going into those grips. Okay, and you can, you know, it's quite malleable, the padding. You know, you can move it around. Keep checking your profiles all the time. Just make sure that you're happy with the position of your padding. And then once that's done, just gonna, before I do anything else, I'm gonna put a little bit more product just around that hairline. Just smooth the hair down. Just keep that nice and sleek. Okay, even a little bit of hairspray. Close your eyes, Tom. There we go. Just keep that nice and flat. A little bit of, I'm just going to put a tiny bit of the anti-frizz on, just smooth that. Now that padding is nice and solid. And now for the fun part, which is the dressing of the hair. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to dress this hair around this padding and just make it really pretty and really 60s looking, so it's going to be nice and big. Right, so I'm just going to take sections of hair, little sections, okay, and I'm going to back comb like that, back comb, and then I'm going to smooth over, and then I'm just going to dress that hair over the top and make it really pretty. I'll just use some shiny pins actually, just for pinning in my curls. They just slip into the hair a little bit easier than the matte ones. I can just see that one a little bit at the front, which I don't want to do. I might have to look in, if I can just see it from the front. So yeah, so I'm just gonna now just create this really nice shape at the front by just taking sections of the hair. Okay. Little bit of a back comb. Jess got the perfect hair for this. Her hair's been because her hair's been bleached as well. It's great. It's the perfect hair for this because it takes back combing really well. Keep it nice and smooth. If you find that it's getting a little bit frizzy, you can just put a little bit of product on it. And just dress the hair over that padding. Just make sure you can't see any of that dark padding underneath. So you might need just to use a little bit of product just to smooth if you find that the hair is becoming a little bit flyaway or frizzy. Just put a little bit of product on there. Okay, again, it's the same for every section, just back combing, curling it round, and then just seeing what it wants to do. Just pulling those curls out. They liked lovely big round curls. Those big 60s curls. And then you can just pin into that underneath. So all the time, just keep checking your profile. Make sure that you're not losing the shape. Okay. I'm just going to check the front because I'm not working into a mirror. I'm not working in front of the mirror. I'm just gonna make sure that I'm happy with that front. Okay. Comb again. And this is proper hairdressing, you know, like really just, you are literally dressing the hair over the top of this padding to create this lovely shape. Just taking those curls, sort of gripping in there. Okay, and then the rest of the curl. I'm just curling it around my fingers there. To give me that nice curl there. I'll twist it. Sometimes go with the hair, see what it wants to do. You know, sometimes you can push. You can manipulate hair. Obviously, you can push it into the shape that you want it to go. But sometimes it doesn't really naturally want to fall that way. So just feel and push it into, you know, the natural way that it wants to fall for something like this. Okay. I'll check my front properly at the end, but I'll just carry on. Again, I think I've got enough height now, and also your padding gives you quite a lot of height, so just twist that. And then just pile those curls on top. Have some fun with it. Enjoy it. Enjoy the, you know, just the hairdressing. Just putting it into place. A little bit of spray. I'm just going to check my front. Just, if at the end I'll just tweak the front, so I'll just carry on. This is almost the end of my first ponytail, so I've still got this hair from the first ponytail, so just back combing that, smoothing that over. I think I'll do it in one. Do this in one piece, maybe. Yeah, and you can just pull the hair around. I wasn't quite sure whether I was going to split that piece, but I think just going to pull that into place. Just tuck any little stray hairs. And just make sure that when you're pinning, as you go along, that you're pinning really well. Right, so I'm in my second ponytail. Right, so and then I'm just twisting it round to blend in with the other ponytail, the one that's just above it. So I just got this little section at the back to cover. Now just make sure when you're doing these, anything where you've got padding, that you've just got enough here to cover the padding. So I'm just ascertaining how much hair I've got, which is fine. I've got enough, but I'm just going to take this section here. I'm just going to take it out of the way just for a moment, because I want to make sure I can cover all my padding, which I can with this hair here. So I'm just going to split that, and I'm going to back comb, and I'm just going to make sure that I can cover that. Just curl that hair. Oops, just pop that there, just curl around my finger there, just. Okay, now I just need to make sure that I cover all of that padding there, okay. grip that. If you need to use, I have been using some of these the little pins as well, the little fine pins, because sometimes you just need to use them, just pull them across, just to cover any padding there. Now, around here, again, I've got the rest of my padding that I need to make sure that I cover. So the same thing as before, I'm just gonna pull that round there. Just gonna pull it round, just pull the hair, make it do what you want it to do, right round there. Make sure that's nicely covered. You don't want to see any of that. Okay, and then grip that nice and tight. Okay, so that's, and then with the rest of that hair, the end of the hair, I'll just make a little curl. Okay, and again, just make sure that it's all really securely gripped in. Okay, so I'm just checking my profile, making sure that I'm happy with that. Okay, so last piece of hair, which I think I'm just going to split in two, and just going to fill this little gap. So just have a look at your shape, and make sure that your shape is solid, that you don't have too many dips in it, because you can see I've got a little gap here, so you don't want to have any gaps. You want the whole thing to be quite round. If we look at the reference pictures here, the shape is big and solid, okay? We've got this big shape there and there and there. So we want to make sure that, as I say, that there's no dips, if that sort of makes sense. You just want to fill those. So I've just taken that here, just given it a back comb, just going to pull that hair into that little gap there. I'm going to grip that. Okay. And then just going to pull it round. Yeah. It's quite relaxing to do. Well, I find it quite relaxing to do, just creating this nice shape. And then I've still got one more bit of hair, which I'll just take this and I'm just going to curl it here, and I'm going to fit it into this little gap here. So same as before, back comb it and curl it round, and then just let's see what it wants to do. I might take it that way. Yeah. Take it that way for a change. And grip that in. Grip it there. And then grip that. Okay, so it's just a few little tweaks. That I can do to it. And then I'll get Jess to stand up. And I'll just make sure that I'm really happy with the shape. Just sorting out a little curl there. Okay. Okay, lovely. Now I just made a few tweaks in front of the mirror because I was just working at the table. I wasn't actually working in front of the mirror, which I obviously normally do. So it was just ever so slightly uneven. So I've sorted that out. So I know I'm happy with the shape. Do you want to turn around?
Yes.
So nice, solid shape, very typical of the 60s, but lots of movement going on. So even though the shape is solid, within that shape, there's lots of movement, lots of curl, and lots of softness. So yeah, thank you.